Today's lesson is about solving proportions. And the reason for that is because when we convert measurements to different units, we usually use proportions. For this reason, we are going to review how to solve proportions. Now, what is a proportion? It's all ratios can be written as a set of equivalent ratios, so they're equal to each other. For example, a half is equal to 2/4, a half is equal to 3/6, and a half is equal to 4/8. If I was to write a proportion, we would, when we say that they are equal to each other. So I could say that 1/2 is equal to 3/6. And that is correct, because if I was to multiply 1 by 3, it would give me 3. And if I was to multiply the 2 by 3, it would give me 6. So I'm working with equivalent ratios. So another example of that is proportion is a statement of equality between two rates or two ratios. So here's another example. We can say that 5/7 is equal to 15/21. And to check and see if that is correct, if I go 5 times 3, it gives me 15. And if I go 7 times 3, it gives me 21. Now 6/10 is equal to 24/40. Same thing, if I go 6 times 4, it gives me 24. And 10 times 4, it gives me 40. So if you multiply the numerator and the denominator by the same number, you are getting an equivalent fraction or an equivalent ratio. So then you know that they are equal to each other. They are equivalent. Now, to solve proportions, when we solve proportions, we cross multiply across the equal sign to create an equation that we can solve. Now, to cross multiply means I'm going to go 15 times 8, and I'm going to go n times 22. Now, 15 times 8 is equal to 120. So I could say 120 is equal to, now 22 times n, we just write 22n. That just shows that they're multiplied together. Now it's an equation that we can solve. I need to solve for n. What does n equal to? Now, since 22 is times by n here, they're multiplied. The opposite of multiplication is division. So we always do the inverse operation in order to solve for our variable. Now, since we need to divide, we're going to divide both sides by 22. Now, 22 divided by 22 is going to give me just 1n, and 120 divided by 22 is equal to, well, we could round that to 5.5. So n is equal to 5.5. Now, if I do the same thing on the other side, if I go 2 times 30, that gives me 60. And 6 times x gives me 6x. Now again, I want to solve for x. So the opposite of multiplication is division. So I'm going to divide both sides by 6. So now this leaves me with just 1x, and 60 divided by 6 gives me 10. So x is equal to 10. So that's how you solve a proportion, is by using the cross multiplication and then solving for your variable. So if we keep going, let's keep following that same strategy. We cross multiply. So we're going to go 2 times 12, which gives me 24. And 8 times n, which gives me 8n. And then we need to divide both sides by 8. So 24 divided by 8 would give me 3 is equal to n. Now you could do it the other way too. You don't have to start. I could start with 8 times n, and it would give me 8n. And then go 2 times 12, and it would give me 24. And then divide by 8 like this. And then n is equal to 3. So the order doesn't really matter. You're ending up with the same answer anyways. Now, okay, so let's say I'll go 5 times h to start, just to show you the difference. So if I go 5 times h is 5h. And then 14 times 4 is 56. And then we got to divide by 5. So I have 1h is equal to, now 56 divided by 5. It doesn't go in equally. It gives me a decimal of 11.2, or 11 2/10. So that's it. That's the strategy as to what you would use to solve proportions. So now you can go ahead and practice to do the assignment.